Kids Tunes Miku, a collection of fairy tales and children's stories. Like and subscribe. Lila the Lost Seahorse, a magical journey back to her father's hug. In a sparkling corner of the crystal clear ocean, there lay a beautiful coral garden known as Coral Blue Garden. The soft blue, lavender, and pastel pink corals rose like tiny underwater castles for the fish that lived around them. This was the home of Lila, a little seahorse, and her father, Iko. Lila was golden with small blue spots across her body. She was known as the most curious little seahorse in the entire garden. "Lila, don't go too far," Father Iko reminded her every morning. "The currents out there are strong." "Okay, Dad," Lila giggled. That day, Coral Blue Garden glowed with sunlight streaming down through the water. Tiny fish danced between anemones, and small shrimps played with bubbles. Lila wanted to play with the floating water bubbles above the seagrass. She spun, twirled, and kicked them until they burst into sparkling dust. But unseen beneath the beauty, the ocean currents slowly began to change. And that day, Lila's life would never be the same. While Lila was chasing bubbles, the current suddenly strengthened. The seagrass swayed wildly as if in panic. "Dad?" Lila called. No answer. Within seconds, a powerful current pulled her tiny body. "No, Dad, help!" Lila screamed. She tried grabbing a coral branch, but her tiny hands were too fragile. The current dragged her away, past tall corals and into a spinning current tunnel. It felt like she was being torn away from the world she knew. After what seemed like hours, even though only seconds had passed, the current weakened. Lila fell gently onto a sandy seabed. She froze, shocked and terrified. "This isn't Coral Blue Garden," she whispered. Strange dark corals surrounded her. The water felt colder. The silence echoed. For the first time in her life, Lila was truly lost. Just as Lila was about to cry, she heard a sighing voice. Little one, why are you alone in this area?" An old reddish-brown crab stepped out from behind a coral. His name was Guri, the old crab known for being grumpy but soft-hearted. I got swept away. I don't know how to go home," Lila said, her voice trembling. Guri looked at her with his round eyes. "This place isn't safe for little ones like you. You're in the mid-ocean region. Coral Blue Garden is in the opposite direction." Lila sighed. "I want to go home, Guri. Dad must be looking for me." Guri nodded slowly. I know part of the way, but your journey will be long. You must pass through the ancient Coral Valley, the giant seaweed forest, and the warm current tunnel." Even though it sounded scary, Lila's eyes sparkled with hope. "May I come with you? Please show me the way." Guri smiled softly, a rare sight. "All right, but you must be brave." Their first journey led them to the ancient Coral Valley, where the corals were hundreds of years old. They stood like towering cliffs, their colors faded by time. There weren't many fish around, only shadows passing once in a while. "Guri, why is this place so empty?" Lila asked. "Because these old corals are homes to animals who love long naps," Guri replied. Suddenly, the booming sound startled Lila. From behind the coral cliffs emerged a large fish named Coco the Napoleon wrasse, a big-headed fish but gentle-hearted. "You woke me up," he grumbled in his deep, sleepy voice. Lila squeaked and hid behind Guri. "Ha, relax little one. I don't eat seahorses. I only eat naps. Can you help us?" "Lila is lost," Guri asked. Coco opened one eye, then pointed south. "There, but be careful, lots of coral collapses." They followed Coco's direction, but indeed, the ancient corals were fragile. As they swam between a narrow crack, the top of the coral crack then began collapsing. "Lila, hurry!" Guri shouted. Lila moved as fast as she could. but a tiny fish was trapped under a falling piece of coral. "Help me," the little fish cried. Guri looked at Lila. "We can leave or we help." Lila bit her lip. She was terrified, but she remembered what Father Iko always said, "Be brave enough to do good, even when you are scared." Swallowing her fear, Lila rushed back. Guri lifted the broken coral slightly, and Lila pulled the small fish out. "Thank you, my name is Rhino," the fish chirped before swimming away. Moments later, the coral fully collapsed, blocking the path behind them. Lila panted. Guri looked at her with pride. "You were very brave, little one." Lila smiled shyly. They continued until they reached the giant seaweed forest, where seaweed grew as tall as towers, swaying eerily. "The seaweed looks like it wants to grab me," Lila whispered, sticking close to Guri. "Be careful, many creatures get lost here," Guri warned. The tall seaweed blocked sunlight, making everything feel like nighttime. But Lila noticed something. Each cluster of seaweed moved in the same direction. "Guri, they're swaying toward the light." "Look!" Guri stopped and squinted. "You're right, that means we should follow their movement instead of fighting it." They slowly followed the path where the seaweed swayed aside. Lila almost got tangled several times, but she learned the rhythm of the current. Halfway through, a small electric eel blocked their path. "Who are you?" he hissed. Lila gulped. I just want to go home." The eel examined Lila's frightened but sincere eyes. Very well, go, but no noise." Lila nodded quickly. They passed safely. After escaping the forest, they arrived at a natural underwater tunnel with warm currents flowing inside. "This is what they call a wandering current," Guri explained. "If we enter, it will carry us far and fast." "Toward my home?" Lila asked. "Partly, if we exit at the right moment." The warm current wrapped around them like a gentle hug. Lila smiled. "It feels like Dad's hug." As they sped forward, Guri warned, "Lila, when you see the swirling purple light, that's when we jump out." Lila nodded firmly. Soon, a spinning purple light appeared ahead. "Now!" Guri shouted. They leapt out and landed on a wide sandy plain. Lila looked around. "I've been here before." Before they could swim farther, a massive shadow loomed over them. A giant octopus appeared with long curling tentacles. "Who enters my territory?" Its deep voice echoed. Lila trembled. Guri stood in front of her. "We're just passing through. This child is lost and trying to return home." The octopus approached, its huge eyes studying Lila. Little seahorses rarely wander this far. Lila tried to speak. I was swept away by the current. I just want to go back to my dad." The octopus paused, then gently lifted Lila with one tentacle. "Your fear is real, but your courage is greater." He pointed toward a glowing coral path. "Follow that path. You will find the waters you seek." Guri bowed gratefully. The octopus retreated into a soft cloud of ink. The next stretch of ocean was peaceful. The water was clear and still. The soft current carried the scent of home. Suddenly, Lila remembered a lullaby her father used to sing when she was little. "If you're lost in the waves of blue, follow the light within you." Lila hummed softly. Guri listened and asked, "What song is that?" "A song Dad sang every night. He said the song would guide me home." Guri smiled warmly. "Then follow your song." And indeed, when Lila sang, a group of tiny fish appeared, drawn by her gentle voice. "You're from Coral Blue Garden, aren't you?" they asked. Lila's eyes widened. "You know the way?" "Of course. Follow us." For the first time since she was lost, Lila felt hope blooming brightly. As they followed the tiny fish, they encountered a large manta ray gliding gracefully. "Lila?" the ray said softly. Lila stopped. "How do you know my name?" The manta ray smiled. "News of a missing little seahorse travels fast. Your father has been searching everywhere." Lila froze. Her eyes shimmered. Dad is really looking for me? Of course, the manta said. He loves you deeply. He's searched every coral, every cave, calling your name. Lila bit her lip, tears forming. Guri touched her shoulder. See, you matter. The manta pointed downward. Through that coral bend, you will see a blue glow. That is Coral Blue Garden. Lila almost burst with joy. I'm almost home. They swam down through the coral bend. The soft blue glow grew brighter with every stroke. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoed faintly, Lila. Lila. Lila froze. That's Dad. She swam as fast as her tiny fins could move. Her heart pounded wildly. In the distance, the silhouette of an adult seahorse spun around anxiously, calling her name. Lila cried out, her voice trembling with hope, Dad. Father Iko turned immediately. His eyes widened in disbelief. Lila, without hesitation, he dashed toward her. They met in the middle of the blue glow, embracing tightly. I was so afraid I lost you forever, Father Iko whispered, shaking. I'm home, Dad, I'm home, Lila replied softly. Guri watched from behind, touched by the moment. Coral Blue Garden was lively once more. Sea creatures gathered to welcome Lila home. Tiny fish danced. Shrimps blew bubbles and sunlight made the corals sparkle beautifully. Father Iko hugged Lila again and again. You've been through such a long journey, little one. Lila looked up and said, I was scared, Dad, but I met kind friends. They helped me. Father Iko smiled warmly. You've shown extraordinary courage. Guri stepped forward. Your child is not only brave but kind-hearted. Lila hugged Guri. Thank you, Guri. Without you, I wouldn't be home. Everyone cheered. Lila looked out at the vast ocean, remembering everything she had faced. The current, the falling corals, the dark seaweed forest, the electric eel, the giant octopus, the manta ray, and finally, the blue glow of home. This journey taught me something, Lila said softly. The world is big, but my heart will always know the way home. Father Iko nodded. As long as you follow your heart, you will never truly be lost. Lila smiled. She was home. She was safe. She was with family. And that night, Coral Blue Garden slept more peacefully than ever.